Hey, it's Amae, and this is episode 22 of Sadistic Game Design paired with Secret Ending in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. After recording my fights in Drezen, I began thinking about the format of this video series. To be honest with you, I don't really like it, and I'm not even sure whether you like it as well. Of course, it's a subpar proof that I wasn't cheating. On the other hand, it's quite obvious that I'm already cutting the videos and I can easily do anything between the action. Mods such as a bag of tricks or toy box allow to customize whatever, whenever and wherever. So you can't take my word that I wasn't cheating at all. Let's do something different. First of all, big no to trash fights. I think it's more than obvious that I'm heavily relying on pre-calculating protected luck, and I will be relying on fortune as well soon enough. So please assume by default that the fights are possible without putting much effort into them. Secondly, and on the other hand, when I find something interesting or challenging, I'll focus on explaining the tactics for it. Thirdly, I'll of course leave the most valuable story cutscenes and dialogues. Then I'll only highlight the most important parts of Crusade Management, but you'll get the point in general, I think. And the last one, all Crusade battles will remain the same, 4x speed and no comments. I guess that's it for my explanation. Please let me know in the comments if you like this new format more or less. Now to the game. So, the Crusade. We'll start with hiring reinforcements and sending them to our main troops. Meanwhile, let's deal with the fort. The road to Drezen is clear, but before starting the assault we'll clear up several spots generating precious resources. That would be one. That would be 2. And the last one. A dagger, not exactly the resources, but it gives money which in turn may give us some resources. Now let's skip several days, because as soon as Drezen comes into my hands, the Crusade won't be safe anymore. Random armies will attack my forts and the city itself. Gathering reinforcements is non-essential, but saves efforts in the long run. Let's go to Drezen! But before we are actually going to Drezen, we need to hold a council. Yeah. Pull yourself together, Irabeth. It doesn't really matter how you deal with her problem right now. I'll go for the diplomacy option for more experience. Begin preparations. And here we start the assault. No-name Crusaders one-shot these demons. Irabeth delivers a speech. Blah blah blah. More blah blah blah. Even Green will say her word. The besiegers break the gates and Crusaders storm into the city. Round the corner, we'll get ambushed by an Incubus and Shadow Demon's Votary. The Votary throws a phantasmal web and deals ability damage after it. And you would want to avoid this. And Incubus will follow his friend as well. The Crusaders are annoying, by the way. They do suck some damage, but mostly die for nothing. How to deal with Brimoraks? Well, quite easy. Give your tank 1 level in Sorcerer with Fire Elemental Bloodline and get Bloodline Ascendance. Your character will become immune to fire damage, sneak attacks and critical hits. Useful, especially for the Sad Game Design run. How to deal with Vrocks? They tend to contract your melee characters with spores, a disease that deals damage over time. So, simple as always. Play to your strengths, tank with your paladin or whoever gets disease immunity. And keep everyone out of the Vrock melee range. By the way, you can remove spores with a bless spell, but you know it's better to prevent the disease than to cure it later. How to deal with Nabasus? They're rather irritating because usually appear later than the trash monsters and cast Mass Hold Person, Nervations, wrecking the unprepared party. Besides, they have a gaze that also drains levels. You can use a Death Sword or send a tank with high touch armor class. Unfortunately, Protective Luck doesn't work with touch attacks, so the second approach may require several reloads. In everything else, the tactics is either debuff, damage, destroy, or Evil Eye, Slumber, Coup de Grace. I'll call the latter Sweet Dreams. To get further into Drezen, you need to break doors or pull levers. Levers are worse as you get less experience. Well, actually, the Crusaders will be doing their job hitting a door with their ram. And you just need to guard them, while demons are teleporting to stop your advance. The gates can be destroyed in any order, and there's little to no tactics for it. Generally, you pull back and engage the hordes on your terms. Just beware of area damaging spells and the teleporting enemies who may surround you. In the second layer of Drezen, there is an important counter with an invisible summoner. She's pretty annoying with her extraparnal animals, but doesn't pose a great threat. Just circle around her possible location and obliterate. After you control the spot, a trader will appear that may help you to get rid of all the weapons and armor lying around. As soon as you defeat the Balor boss, Wilsar Garms will move to the main square along with Irabeth and the Queen. There are several encounters where you can climb on walls and simply shoot your enemies staying on the lower level of Drezen. This is the first group. And this is the second one, but it requires you to climb down to the roof of this building. Before the first gate there is an unusual encounter. It starts as a lone guy, also known as Fallen Crusader, who guards the entrance. You debuff him, hit him, shoot him, and so on. In the middle of the fight, a retriever climbs down the wall. It throws random stuff at you, like petrification or elemental energies. The tactics is the same as with anyone else in this game. I call it 3D, debuff, damage, destroy. The first gate is rather troublesome. Brimoraks appear on the high ground and have a better overview on your party members. On the other hand, your party members can't shoot properly from the lower level and up the stairs. The other demons are not a problem at all, besides the Queen and Irabeth can output quite enough damage as well. However, on top of that, a retriever appears and may decide to chase your most distant companion. Just remember, the 3D tactics is your best friend. Another interesting mini-boss is the Minotaur Cleric in the Drezen dungeons. It's better to get there through the ruins to the right of the main gates. This Prophet of Bahomet is level 18 and prefers to use Hellfire Rays and Flame Strikes. In addition, there are several hidden babos with sneak attacks and half-end Minotaur. Don't try to put the Prophet into slumber. If you do make an attempt, he'll be able to cast something of his arsenal. Use the 3D tactics and be done with him. On the other hand, Zgur the Gnawbone inside the tavern is very open to the 3 dreams. Just debuff him and put to eternal rest. In the temple there is an irking rock Votary who just loves throwing big damaging spells at your party. Disintegrate, Wall of Blades, and so on. She stands a bit further than Babos, but you can easily sneak closer with all your party including Scylla. Use your tanks to protect the vulnerable members from sneaky Babos. Then wish sweet dreams to the Votary. And dispatch the remaining enemies. Now to the Balor Darrazand. First of all, the boss can't be killed. The fight just stops with a cutscene after a while. Secondly, succeeding in the intimidation check gives you much more experience. The third thing. The boss targets your main character regardless of the distance, and he likes to throw nasty fire damage over time effect. This can be mitigated by fire protection or immunity. Just make sure to block the boss until he changes the target, or disregard the advice if your main character is already a tank. And the last thing. Balor's armor class is 36, so don't expect much from your fighters. The main source of your damage will be the Queen herself. And here is the cutscene. The expert hitman Greybo, who literally talks your ears off about professionalism in his job, tries to assassinate the demon commander and cries out loud his employer's name in the very professional way. Yeah, Pathfinder Wrath of the Riotous is an outstanding, story-rich game. Now, the Citadel dungeons. Right at the start, the party is cursed by Whispers of Madness, which damage your charisma every 10 in-game minutes. Pass a saving throw with all your characters or use Restoration. It's quite easy to uncurse everyone, but we'll get to it in a moment. We'll meet Arelu disguised as Yaniel and make sure to set her free. This is probably important for the secret ending, as she needs to have a conversation with us later in the dungeon. To be honest, I'm not really sure whether she's able to appear if left restrained. Hello, a submissive maniac dwarf who adores his whining treacherous brother. You do help demons bring pain and suffering to innocent people in the name of your owner, don't you? You know, this type of seemingly kind-hearted people who do evil because... insert your own preposterous reasons. Worse than Camellia, in my opinion. At least she was written as she accepts her desires, unlike the hypocritic Joran who just searches for philosophical excuses. Anyway, he reforges the Radiance. You may recall the video number 4 when I showed him this sword. And attacks us. During the fight he is likely to switch from your tanks to someone unprotected. So make sure to block his path. It may take a while to kill this guy, and a while more, and even another while more, until he finally drops dead on the floor. It's time to get rid of the curse. This is the locked door to a small room with 4 skill checks. The difficulty classes are not that high. Arcana 22 on the table, Religion 30 on the left plate, Brawl 21 on the middle plate, and Arcana 25 on the right plate. And now my favorite fight in the whole dungeon, the Vampire Nest. To win, you actually need to fail your saving throws and get dominated by either Theruk or by his spawn. If you are not in the melee range, the vampires will try to dominate you. If you are already dominated, the vampires stop attacking you until you shrug off their dominance. The only downside is that Theruk has fast healing and quickly heals up when you are under his command. You may move out a bit of their original side and even save in between. The mandatory Sadistic Game Design boss, Blightmaw. Before starting anything, you need to disarm the trap. Stealth your character and go ahead, they are not looking. Next, the boss will appear only after all cultists sacrifice themselves, so you need to take control over the moment the boss comes into play. For this reason I'll use Grease and Webs. Grease forbids the last cultist to cast the suicide spell, and it allows me to leave combat and save the game. Several webs will slow down the boss with the chance of holding him for 1 or 2 rounds. As soon as Blightmaw appears, I'm cutting his safes with Evil Eye and trying to put him into slumber. "50 seconds of dreams allow me to make another save. And now it's just a matter of luck. 29 difficulty class of Coup de Grâce versus 19 Fortitude save. As usually, these tactics won't work in the Iron Man or whatever this game mode is called, but may be utilized even in the unfair difficulty. The fake Sword of Valor Banner. As soon as you take it off the stand, 7 Brimoraks will appear and send you their greetings in the form of fireballs and later fire breaths. Have I ever told you that fire immunity on your tank is extremely helpful? Well, I guess I have. So the tactics is simple, as you can see. Hide everyone except the bait, take someone with the bow, and then send them your own greetings. After you defeat the first wave, the second wave will follow up. There will be an Elder Vrock along with the regular one. Oops, that's not really fun. Luckily, Lan runs faster than the big crow-shaped demon. The next encounter is related to the secret ending. After dozens of ghouls and 2 Nabasus, Yaniel, Arelu will talk to you about knowledge and stuff. You literally need to select option 2 or 3, evil or neutral, and she'll open the doors to the puzzle room. Before going on with the puzzle, you need to dispatch an invisible Eustorex. There are several solutions to this enigma. The easiest one is to immediately turn back on the Sword of Valor and face the staircase platform, and then click the discs in the following order: middle twice, upper thrice, left twice, right once. And there you go, the Sword of Valor is yours. You'll be ambushed immediately after, but it's nothing to write home about. Well, except Nabasus, maybe. Alright, time to select a Mythic Path and get another Mythic ability. Great in using spells. Mythic Spellbook. Done.
This is just an angel at the helm of the Crusade.
And we'll talk to Arelu.
Little masquerade.
Again, I'm not sure if any answer here is important for the secret ending.
Without realizing it, this mad girl just asked if the Yaniel you freed from the dungeon was merely a mask. Sometimes I like to wear the guise of my fallen enemies, to study them from the inside. The real Yaniel has... I'm creating something.
I wouldn't antagonize her for no reason. Now in the tower there is an encounter with Coloxus of Coloxa, in simple English, the Insectmen. They start a fight after you remove this chest. The easiest way to deal with them is to block their movement. Otherwise they are rather tiresome. They turn invisible and sneak attack, they tend to target vulnerable characters, use Mind Fog, shout at you, and so on. Not the hardest fight, but may become annoying if the Insectmen are left out of control. The Omoxes and Omoxes Befouler are like fire elementals but made of sacred filth. There is also a trap in the room, but you can avoid it in this fight. Omoxes appear from a puddle of brown dirt and start approaching your party. Still, you have enough time to charge into them and block their movement. Several hits later, they are dispatched without much efforts. And finally, the boss room. Luckily, they are neutral, so far, allowing to prepare the stage. First of all, I need to buff up Lan and Amae. Secondly, I'm casting all available webs and greases in the room. Thirdly, I'm going back to the prison dungeons to free our new party member.
You are a crusader, right? Yes, now I see. Yes, yeah, now I recognize you're
A demon on the path to
yes.
Next, I'm kicking everyone except for Lan and take Aru with me. Afterwards, I'm leveling Aru and giving her mythic powers. And I stop sharing experience with inactive party members. Back to the boss room. The webs and grease are still on the floor, so I can summon mid shields, buff up a little bit, and start the encounter.
This dwarf is a...
Hello, Minagho. Greetings, Mr. Ms.
Don't forget to remind Nura of your agreement. All the other dialogue options don't matter whatsoever.
You know, the side of good? You mean... Right.
Staunton.
Okay, the fight itself. In any case, focus on the draw. If he dies, the encounter is over. Use Lance, Perfect Strike, or don't. Now Staunton will quarrel with Minagho.
Give me back. Oh, I grow so tired of you.
So this is to be careful, everyone.
And all that you need is to drop him to 0 once more. Now for the secret ending, talk to Nura and set her free!
The commander of the Crusade has managed to overthrow 70 years of demonic rule in Drezen and restored the Sword of Valor to its rightful place. Will the commander be able to defend the banner he has won with such a valiant effort?
Urgent matters of state. I believed in your success and prepared for this outcome after a fashion. I brought a reward to personally bestow upon my Knight Commander. But now, I think this reward is insufficient. So please, accept one more gift from me personally.
If you want to romance the Queen, crack a moronic joke.
By no means. There. I think but we there.
And that's we must Anevia. Yeah, the troop, the dragons. We've temporarily placed.
And Amae is level 11. But what we see, not only Amae, but Arueshale is also level 11. If you watch my previous videos, you may recall my obsession when I passed skill checks with my main character and didn't share the experience. So I was able to perform every skill check with Amae in Drezen except for the diplomacy with Balor. This gave me just enough experience to get myself and Arelu to level 11. Of course this is not game breaking or must have, but allows faster progression. I assume that the next mythic ability is blocked by your level, so getting it faster will contribute in a smoother run. By the way, I didn't show any level ups in this episode. So if you are interested, check out separate video with explanations. Thank you for watching this series. Leave a comment, subscribe, and until next time, I'm gone!